Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video tutorial, I'll explain how to create and configure the Syncfusion React Splitter component using the Create React App command. You can use the React Splitter to provide resizable, expandable, collapsible, and nestable panes. I will show you how to configure this component and a few of the control's basic features like resize, collapse, and expand panes. You will also see how to render nestable panes. Let's start with the application creation process. Make sure you have installed the latest version of React and Node in your system. I'll use VS Code as my editor and show the output in the Chrome browser. Now, I'll create a new application in the command prompt using the command npx create react app and provide the app name, my React app. I set the script version to template TypeScript. Then, I navigate to the desired location and install the Syncfusion Splitter package using the command npm install Syncfusion EJ2 React Layouts. Next, I open the project in VS Code. Remove the default code snippets from the app.tsx file. Remove the default styles from the app.css page and reference the material CSS styles to apply them to the Splitter component. To start using the component, I import it from the EJ2 React Layouts package and include the Splitter component tag. I also include the panes directive tag to provide the content for the collection of panes, and include the pane directive tag to specify the single pane content. I then add another 2 panes. Before moving on, let me run this application using the command npm start and show you the initial output. See, the Splitter renders with 3 empty panes. You can include any content, like HTML markup, React UI components, and plain content as well. I'm going to use HTML markup in the left pane. I first define the constant method, left pane, and define the HTML content. Then, assign this method to the content property of the pane directive tag. Here, I'm going to add plain text. I declare another method, middle pane, and set its value to middle content. Then assign this method to the content property of the second pane. Next, I'm going to add the React ListView component. For that, I install the Syncfusion EJ2 React Lists package. Then, import the ListView component from that package. I open the app.css file and refer the CSS styles for the ListView component. To configure the ListView component, I declare another method, listContent, and add the ListView component tag. I can bind list items using the dataSource property. Here, I declare the variable list data, and I can define multiple objects in an array. I assign this object to the dataSource property. I'll also add the necessary properties to display the list header and icons. Also, I map dataSource fields to the fields property here. You can refer to my React ListView Getting Started video to learn more about rendering the component. I've included the link in the card above and the description below. Then, opening the app.css page, I include styles for the list icon, folder, and file classes. In the output, you see the HTML markup content in the left pane, the plain content in the middle pane, and the React ListView component in the right pane. The size of each pane is adjusted automatically. You can also provide a fixed size to all panes. The last pane is considered a flexible pane. Now, I set the size for the first pane to 25% using the size property and middle pane size to 50%. Checking now, the first and second panes have a standard size, and the third one occupies the remaining space. Next, I will show you how to change the orientation of the Splitter component. So far, we have seen the default horizontal layout. I add the orientation property and set its value to vertical. Then, I change the dimension of the splitter by setting its height to 400 pixels and width to 500 pixels. I also changed the size of the middle pane to 15%. See in the output, the splitter pane is rendered vertically. Next, I will show you how to render a nested splitter. Here I'm going to add a new nested pane inside the middle pane of the existing splitter component. I add another splitter component tag with its orientation set to vertical. I include the panes directive and pane directive with the content nested pane. Then I declare the reference variable splitter object of type splitter component and form the reference variable to the first splitter control. I declare another variable inner splitter object and form the reference variable in the second splitter control. I include the created event and assign the callback method onCreated. I define this method here. In this method, I get the middle pane element of first splitter component and store it in the variable parent splitter and append the second splitter pane to that element. At last, I need to align the content in nested pane. So, change the size of middle pane to 50%. Since I'm going to render the first splitter component horizontally, remove the orientation, height, and width properties. Here, I add a wrapper element for this content with class name nested. Also add the wrapper element with same class name for the middle pane content. I open app.css page and provide the CSS styles for the class nested. Looking at the output, the splitter renders with nested panes. Next, I will show you how to expand or collapse panes. By default, collapsible behavior is disabled in the splitter component. To enable it, include the collapsible property in the left and middle panes and set its value to true. To collapse pane 2 on initial loading of this application, I include the collapsed property and set its value to true. You can see, pane 2 collapsed on initial loading. Pane 1 collapses when I click this icon. Finally, I will show you how to restrict resizing. By default, resizing is enabled in the splitter component. To disable it, add the resizable property in pane 3 and set its value to false. See in the output, I am unable to resize the pane 3. In this video, I have shown you how to create and configure the Syncfusion React Splitter component using the Create React App command, and how to use a few of its basic features. You can download this working example from the GitHub link in the description below. I've also shared a link where you can learn about obtaining a free license key to use our React products if you're eligible for our community license. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it useful, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel.